Hey guys, this is Senti Reads. As you can see from the video title, today I'm going to be reading and reviewing Amberlynn's Wattpad masterpiece, Hello Darling. I was really inspired by Rachel Oates' video on Gabby Hanna's poetry, and I'm so sorry to say that this video isn't going to be nearly as coherent and well put together as Rachel Oates' video because she is a legend, she's an icon, but we're going to do our best here. I really wanted someone to review Amberlynn's poetry in the same sort of format, but that person definitely isn't me. I don't read poetry or write poetry, so I'm definitely not the person to be able to do that type of video. But I do have a very strong interest in creative writing. I've loved writing for as long as I can remember, and right now I'm working on 2 novels, so I can't speak to Amberlynn's poetry quality, but I think I'm more than qualified to talk about her other creative writing. And in the spirit of Rachel's video, I want to keep my personal feelings about Amberlynn out of this. Even though I'm a hater, I won't be talking about her weight, her new wifey, or any of the other numerous scandals she's been involved in. There's plenty of other videos covering that kind of content if that's what you're looking for. Here, I kind of want to just keep it focused on her writing. I'll try to keep my judgments a little less harsh because Gabby Hanna, her poetry book was something you had to buy. And Amberlynn isn't charging any money for this. It's all posted for free on her Wattpad, so I'm going to try to keep that in mind because this isn't a product she was trying to sell. And I doubt Amberlynn will ever watch this, but if she does, girl, I'd be happy to edit your stuff for you. And with that out of the way, let's jump right into the hilarity that is Hello Darling. The love I have for you matches the way the sun reflects against the water, the sparkle against the wave as you look at me in my face. But please tell me, why isn't the wave taking me away? Indy looks down at her feet as a tear runs down her cheek. She is heartbroken, but in love. She wants to tear Juniper's clothes off like the nights before, but she also wants to scream, run away, and never look back. Tell me now, will I ever see you again? When one girl falls in love with another. I wish I could do the really dramatic narrator voice, but I cannot. Juniper doesn't do relationships. She doesn't fall in love after a night of sex, and she most definitely does not get attached. But what happens when a beautiful, free-spirited girl comes along that makes her feel things she never thought she could? What happens when she is finally smiling more than she is frowning? Is this a dream or a nightmare? A cruise ship around the world will change their lives. A story about passion, confusion, yeah, that's for damn sure, twists, adventure, confessions, and love. And just remember, not everything is what it seems on Hello Darling. So, well, that was a doozy right there. I can tell you, having read the story, it's not like that. You can see there's not very much here. I hate to burst your bubble, but this is not a complete story. And I don't even think Juniper and Indy meet in these parts. I don't remember them even meeting each other. But let's see if I was right or wrong about that. So we're jumping first right into Juniper's perspective. This is how this opens. How do you always talk me into doing crazy things? I asked my best friend Memphis, a total blonde bombshell walking 5'11" on petite feet. Okay, first of all, 5'11" is insanely tall for a woman. And if you were 5'11", your feet would be kind of large in proportion to the rest of your body. So I don't understand, of all the descriptions we could get from her, we're learning about her feet, whatever. Okay, move on, girl, move on. It's not that serious. Okay. How is this crazy? We're literally going on an only girls cruise for a month. There will be naked pool parties, alcohol, random hookups, and a ton of lesbians. Memphis giggled and added, okay, you're right, Juniper. This is a bit crazy, but this is going to be a blast. You had me at only girls, I laughed. We are both lesbians, but the complete opposite of one another. You know, Amberlynn, when you wrote that you were both lesbians, I did not just automatically assume you were a hive mind who was the same person, but alas. Memphis is a long-haired blonde. We already learned that about Memphis. We just heard that she's a blonde bombshell. Memphis is a long-haired blonde with brown eyes, while I'm standing with short dark hair and blue eyes. Memphis loved shopping and fake pink nails, while I like leather jackets and skinny jeans. This is any lesbian's paradise, I added. Just in case you forgot that they were lesbians, you know. You might have forgotten. We both happily arrive at Hello Darling. Hello Darling is the cruise that was set out for only females. That was the weirdest sentence I've ever read, I'm sorry. Hello Darling is the cruise that was set out for only females. See, boys, girls, babies, everybody. Read your stuff out loud before you post it, and you will realize how ridiculous some of your sentences sound. Just a editing pro tip there. Read your stuff out loud. It was like no other kind of cruise ship before because nothing was off limits, with very little rules. If nothing was off limits, then there are no rules. Anyway, and the ship would never stop for a full month, besides when gas was needed, and even then, no one was allowed off the ship. It was a seclusion I was going to love. So this is hilarious to me because it speaks to how Amberlynn knows nothing about cruise ships and has done no research. I've only been on one cruise in my entire life, just disclaimer, and it was like a 5-day cruise, and we stopped almost every day at different ports so you could visit different islands. That's part of the appeal of being on a cruise. You don't stay on the boat the whole time. That's not a thing. And also, the ship gets gas? What is this, like your PT Cruiser? Like, what? Whatever. The ship was huge, almost resembling the size of the Titanic, but Hello Darling was white, and in pretty pink cursive writing was the ship's name on the side of it. Also another I hate to burst your bubble moment, but the Titanic is actually really small compared to modern day cruise ships by a pretty large margin. I think like cruise ships today are double the size of the Titanic. So again, she has done no research. Everywhere I looked, there were girls. Dark girls, light girls, short, tall, fat, skinny, butch, and femme. But they all looked excited, and we were all here for the same reason. Fun, relaxation, and hopefully hookups. 2,000 passengers, and each one had a vagina. So it's a good thing that trans women are apparently not included on this trip if you have to have a vagina to be on here. So very, very inclusive of you, Amberlynn. And the thought excited me. Hurry up, Memphis. I looked back and she was tugging 3 suitcases. Does this bitch have 3 hands? How she got 3 suitcases? We were supposed to leave our suitcases at the shuttle bus, but she insisted that she didn't want to have her suitcases touched by anyone else. Okay, so Memphis is also a Karen. Good job. Sometimes she was super uptight, but it was something I was used to. This is your fault you were struggling, I said half-jokingly. I went back and started pulling 2 of her suitcases for her, which helped dramatically. Tickets in tow, we went on the cruise's pathway. I took a deep breath and smiled. This was going to be a month full of ladies. So I have a few questions. First of all, I have no idea where this scene takes place. Are they at the port? I'm really confused. And also, a month-long, I just thought of this just now, a month-long cruise would be like at least $10,000 a ticket, if not significantly more expensive. So how are all these bitches affording this? A month-long cruise? That is crazy. So let's just move along here. To Indy, our second POV character. Good on Amberlynn for attempting dual POV. It does not work, unfortunately, as we will see, but she tried something here. Ugh, Mom, seriously calm down. It's not that big of a deal. Choosing to go on a month cruise with my mom was probably one of the worst things I have ever agreed to. Is Indy's mom a lesbian? Because the previous chapter kind of indicated that this was sort of a lesbian-only party cruise. But as you'll find out, there's actually a number of like family members and things here. So the first chapter is really indicating that this cruise is a party cruise, but you'll find out it's not. So it's a weird decision to have Indy's mom here. I wanted to share a room with you, and that is what I requested, and most definitely not what I got. I can't be alone, Indy. You know this. It looked like she was about to cry. Mom, sit down. Calm down. I went up to her and put my arms around her as she sat down and put her head in her hands. It will be okay. We have a full month of spending quality time together. We will have a lot of fun, and we don't have to think about him. But you're thinking about him now by bringing him up. Anyway, my voice trailed off because I had regretted even bringing it up. Yeah, you should. Because right then she started crying. It's a good thing that her mom is about to exposition dump everything that happened. I didn't do anything to him. I treated him right. Why would he cheat on me? Your father should have never died. She was hysterical now, bringing up my father yet again, which she always did. He died 4 years ago in a motorcycle accident. Ironically, it was the day I told him I was a lesbian. While my mother accepted it, he didn't. His last words to me were, "I wish you weren't my daughter." That's fucking harsh, dude. And the next time I saw him, he was laying in a casket, and he didn't even look like himself. Our relationship was the perfect father and daughter relationship, but he was intensely homophobic. I don't think the perfect father-daughter relationships involves either of the parties saying that they wish they weren't related to each other. Okay. I hold a lot of regret. Nothing will ever be the same for my mother and me. Cool! Thanks for the trauma dump. This has nothing to do with Dad. Jake. Jake sounds like such a teenager name to me, so it's kind of ridiculous thinking about her mom dating a guy named Jake. Jake was a disgusting human being, and he was crazy to cheat on you. Let's forget about this. This is a time for you to smile and to be happy, Mom. Let's unpack our stuff and go head down to brunch. They're going to have salmon toast. Your favorite. Never heard of salmon toast, but okay. I was always the one trying to pick my mom up, and when she was sad, I never cried. Not even when I got the phone call that my dad was dead. They had the perfect father-daughter relationship, but she did not cry when her father passed away. Cool, love that for her. Not even when my dad practically told me he hated me. And here I am comforting my mom when my insides just want to explode, but I did what I always did best, put on a happy smile and moved on with my day. Memphis and I had 2 separate rooms because the brochure clearly stated that only handicapped passengers would be sharing rooms with someone, and from the looks of it, I have not seen anyone who seemed like they needed help with anything. Boys, girls, babies, everybody. We have so much to unpack with this. First of all, what? This is not a thing that handicapped people have to share a room with someone or they're not allowed on a cruise. Are you serious? That's okay. There's so much to say about that. And secondly, when I went on my cruise, there was 4 people in that room. Myself, my 2 sisters, and my mother. 4 of us shared a room. It's how cruise ships maximize their capacity. If you only have 1 person per room, and in the last chapter or the chapter before, they said there's 2,000 passengers, that means they have 2,000 bedrooms on this cruise. That's not possible for it to be almost the size of the Titanic. That doesn't make any sense where they have all these rooms. And also, I love that Juniper thinks that she can just determine who is handicapped and who is not based on if somebody looks like they need help with something. So invisible disabilities are just not a thing to her. Okay, I'm too heated. I gotta move on. Our rooms were right next to each other since Memphis had bought our tickets back to back. That's another thing that is not a thing. The rooms are more expensive based on their location on the ship. So if you have a room that has a window facing the actual ocean, your room is more expensive. So you have to pick a room in the ticket price. There's not just standardized rooms. Anyway, the ship was huge, and I questioned whether I would even be able to explore the whole thing in the month time span. I assure you 5 days was fully enough to explore the Disney cruise I went on, so a month, you got tons of time. Especially if the ship never stops, you can't even get off the ship. So I don't understand why she thinks she can't see everything, but we unpacked our suitcases and headed down to eat because we were both starving. Oh my gosh, strawberries, Memphis squealed while we were standing in line at the brunch buffet that was being held every single morning. I questioned why they called it brunch if it was so early, till I turned the corner and saw that they were also serving lunch items as well. Thank you, Juniper, for explaining what brunch is. Everything on Hello Darling was technically free and paid for in the ticket. Bitch! That means it's not technically free. You paid for it in the ticket. It's not free. You paid for it already. Food, alcohol, the clubs, parties, activities, everything was already paid for. So it was pretty much a free-for-all, 24/7. Okay, so this further brings up my point that this cruise must be insanely expensive if it's all-you-can-eat food, alcohol, club, partying, and activities for a month straight. This ticket has got to cost $100,000 a person to be able to accommodate this. Hello Darling was supposed to be taking off at 9 a.m. They opened it up at 6 a.m. and were allowing passengers to situate themselves for 3 hours till takeoff. Take off like it's a plane. Gathering our food, I notice a girl who is overly attractive spooning grits onto her plate, so I do what I do best, put on my charm. Come here often, I asked her with my sweet charisma, knowing for sure she was gay. Okay, Juniper's got a good gaydar, I guess. She giggled, which I knew she would, and responded with, "No, but my boyfriend back home wishes he did." And then she walked away. Damn, girl, that was cold. Okay, that was a shot to the heart, because normally I can get any girl I want, and my gaydar is normally on point. I'm not a cocky person. Girls just cannot resist me. Well, Juniper, you just demonstrated that is not true, so maybe you should not say a fact so confidently and then not back it up. The food here is heavenly, Memphis said as we both sat down. She got a bunch of fruit and some oatmeal. Yeah, that's a fucking heavenly meal right now. Some fruit and some oatmeal. Not much of a meal, but whatever. I sat down with hash browns, eggs, a bagel, sausage, and some pasta they had with cheese. Is it mac and cheese? What is this mysterious cheese pasta? And I know I said I would not speak about Amberlynn's weight or anything, but this collection of items just speaks to why Amberlynn might be the way she is. That's all I'm going to say. You eat like you are trying to lose weight. I never understand you, I replied back to her as I dived into my food. I need to watch my figure. Eating food like what you have on your plate will only cause you to die sooner, and you know that. She picked at her fruit. Okay, that was harsh. I rolled my eyes. Whatever, this food tastes better than that crap, and you only live once. Had Juniper really be out here saying YOLO? I said, pointing to her plate. Memphis has always been weird with her eating ever since I knew her. We had been best friend since we were in 3rd grade, and now here we are in our early 20s and still standing strong with a great friendship. Is that a great friendship? Because Memphis just said you were going to die sooner, and you're very casual about her very obvious eating disorder. I'm just excited for today. What is on the agenda? I asked in between bites. Memphis took out a booklet which had everything we needed to know in it. FAQ about Hello Darling, the map of the ship, the few rules they had in place, safety instructions, food and drink menus, and the agenda for the next month written out in detail and times. How long is this booklet? That's like gotta be as big as the Bible for a month-long cruise to fit in one booklet. The cruise I went on had a phone app that you downloaded, and everything was on the app. Like, a booklet? Seriously? Okay, June 1st, let's see. She trailed off in focus as I looked around the room. Girls everywhere, chatty but attractive. Ugh, that's a thing a man would say. Okay. I had not seen a single girl yet that I would not love to make go wild. Ugh. Not you at lesbians. Lesbians are fine, but just you at this. Ugh. I don't fall in love. I fall in lust. I just love sex. I'm a sexual person who enjoys making other girls feel good. Well, great. Good for you. Oh, here we go. Memphis brought me back to reality. Thank God. Thank you, Memphis. Ship takes off at 9 a.m., so we can go on the deck to watch that. And then at 11 a.m., there's some sort of game in Building C to get to know fellow passengers. Building C. I'm going to point this out repeatedly, but Amberlynn does not know how cruise ships work. Does she think there are, like, separate buildings just on a boat? Like, what? Whatever. Sounds fun. Maybe we can meet some friends. Her eyes lit up. Or some ladies with potential hookups. We both laughed. Okay, well, that makes 3 of us because I've been laughing the whole time. Okay, we're going to jump back to Indy, I guess. This is really exciting, Indy. Okay, my memory might be bad, but has she started every single chapter off with dialogue? Is this the only way she knows to start a chapter is with dialogue? That's very strange. This is really exciting, Indy. My mom smiled, putting her hand on my back as we stood on Hello Darling's balcony of many waiting for the ship to take off. That was a mouthful. I wouldn't have wanted anyone else to come with me, and certainly not Jake. We both knew I was the only one she had. Oh my God. But I just smiled back at her, knowing that even if she did have other people in her life, I would still probably be number one. Well, it's good to know both Juniper and Indy are insanely confident with themselves. Okay, hello, darling ladies. Who's ready for a month full of fun? The intercom announced. I sat and wondered how we were able to even hear it over all the females and the constant chatter mixed with the openness of the boat in the ocean. Everyone cheered, including Mom, which made me smile even bigger. As we all know, we'll all be stuck with each other for a full month, and we definitely didn't pay $100,000 to be together. So we better make some friends and enjoy the time. We have a lot of things planned for everyone, and the most important rule is to have fun. I thought there were no rules. More cheers, so let's do this. The ship's horn was intensely loud, and before we knew it, we were all waving out to the friends, family members, loved ones, and strangers of all the passengers on Hello Darling. As the ship moved from the dock slowly at first, the sound of the ship in the lap of the water was peaceful. I looked over at my mom, and she had a tear run down her cheek, but I could tell she was happy. There was a difference in her now than her tears she shed earlier. She looked hopeful now. Her golden hair was flowing in the wind, and great. Is she Fabio? And she looked better than she had in months as the sun hit her cheeks. I looked around and saw nothing but estrogen. Well, okay, cool. That's a weird description. It didn't bother me since I was a lesbian after all, because of course she is. Oh, sorry, that was unfair. This is a lesbian romance. It's just so weird how boldly they state it instead of just implying it with their actions. I just hadn't been interested in anyone since Rose, who had left me 7 months ago because she realized she actually wasn't into girls after all. Well, that's not cool, Rose. We were together for almost 4 years. It took Rose 4 years to realize she was not into it. That's okay. She is the reason I came out to my parents, and look where that got me. Oh, Rose killed her dad. I had been with a few girls before, but something was different about her, and she was the only girl that I would have done absolutely anything for. She broke me and shows absolutely no remorse for it. Well, okay, if it's true that that's why she broke up with you, that's not her fault that she's not actually into girls. So you shouldn't really be so resentful to that. Are we still going to go to that get to know the passengers you live with thing later today at 11? That was, okay, get to know your passengers you live with thing? Oh, what? Mom asked after we both enjoyed the ship being set off to sail. Okay. Being on the water felt so soothing for me. I know I was not going to be one of the many who probably got seasick. Yes, if that's what you want to do. This is your vacation, so we will do what you want to, I smiled at her. I really did not mind what we did, but getting to know the other passengers really did sound fun to me. I'm not a shy girl. Free-spirited is what most of my friends call me. I know this was time for me and my mom to spend some time together, but I think it would be good for her if she met some friends on here, her age, and I wanted that for myself as well. Girl, there was not a single comma in this whole ass sentence. You would put one here, right before but. Master pro tip. This is where the comma goes. Definitely, she looked out into the water, smiling. The water really was an absolute stunning sight. The sun reflected on it in such a magical way that made you never want to look away. So some more of Amberlynn's writing quirks are coming out here. First of all, we're getting next to no description of the scenery, so I know they must be on the deck of the boat to be able to see this happening and look at the water, but we're getting no description of what the boat actually looks like. And her second writing quirk is that her characters frequently describe themselves instead of us naturally seeing that description through the actions they take in the narrative. They just blatantly describe their personality traits instead of you getting to see them for yourself. But alas, back to Juniper. Arriving in Building C after trying to find it for what seemed like forever. Girl, is there not a map in that booklet you just got? Sorry, I'm getting a little feisty. I looked around and saw that many of the females on the cruise decided not to attend this not to attend this Let's All Become a Unity game. Amberlynn really thought this is the best she could come up with. Let's All Become a Unity game, where we all were supposed to get to know each other. I don't really know what the game entailed. I think she means entailed. But I want to join. More ladies I got to meet, the happier I was. That's not a sentence. Let's sit over here. Memphis pulled my arm towards the back corner of the room and sat on this white chair that looked and felt like it was probably $1,000. Okay, but that's, again, just the blatant description. Well, tell me how plush the chair. Tell me how big the chair is. Tell me how soft the chair is. Don't just say this. The room was big, looked like about 500 passengers could fit in here happily, but there was only about 100 of us or less easily. So there's 2,000 passengers on this ship, and this room is big enough to accommodate 500 passengers. I'm not going to do the math. There was a huge chandelier dangling from the ceiling that gently sparkled against the walls. Like a disco ball? I wonder why not many people decided to come here. Not many people want to talk in front of a huge crowd, I guess. I'm surprised you wanted to come, I said to her, knowing Memphis could sometimes be a bit shy. We're going to be here for a month, so I just figured why not, she said, and her eyes trailed off and added, look at that girl. She has enough ass for you and I both. Do women really speak to each other this way about other women? Because, God, I hope not. Memphis loved girls with a little bit of meat on them. Me too, Memphis. She giggled a bit, but I saw something in her eyes that made me realize she wanted to lay that girl down in bed. She said she has enough ass for both of them, and then is like somehow surprised that she wanted to lay that girl down in bed. Get your facts straight. Get you some. Go talk to her, I said to her, trying to urge her to have fun, even though I highly doubted she actually needed me to urge her. She probably isn't even gay. You know I have a horrible gaydar. What she said was true. What she said was true. We're just getting a statement. She always was attracted to the straight girls, just like James Charles. Sorry, too soon? But who cares? She shrugged her shoulders and stood up and went to talk to the girl. I sat back when all of a sudden a voice from behind me asked, "Is this seat taken?" I turned around and saw a beautiful, curly, red-haired girl. Sorry, that makes me think the girl is curly, not the hair, whatever. I turned around and saw a beautiful, curly, red-haired girl looking down at me with eyes that could pierce your soul and break a million hearts. But I was digging it. She was pointing to the chair on the left of me. "Yes, by you," I replied. Smooth as hell, I thought to myself. Smooth as hell, yet again. We just get all this description of her being good at flirting, but she's actually like your lame uncle. Her cheeks got a bit red, and she replied, "Well, thanks." She walked around tall in stature like Memphis, but more edgy rather than girly. She sat next to me, and I could smell lavender. This comes back. It's a weird, like, red herring clue about lavender. Well, no, it's not a red herring, but she brings up this lavender again. Trust me. So what's a beautiful girl doing what? What? What's a beautiful girl doing like you alone right now? So I think what she meant to say was, so what's a beautiful girl like you doing alone right now? But she just wrote this and just posted it. If you haven't realized by now, this is a very obvious first draft. No amount of editing or proofreading or anything went into this. I need a vacation to myself, so I figured coming to Hello Darling will help me escape the mess of, she trailed off a bit, just stuff. I want to meet new friends, have fun, relax, and just enjoy myself. Isn't that why we are all here? I suppose so, I smiled. Give her a once-over and imagined her in bed with me. Well, that was forward. I'm Juniper, and you are, I held out my hand to take hers and kiss it. Again, smooth as hell. I'm Rose. Dun, dun, dun! If you're wondering if it's that Rose, the one that made Indy's father kill himself on a motorcycle, you would be correct. It is exactly that Rose. Okay, Indy, let's see what you got going on, girl. Again, oh my god, it started in dialogue again. Did the previous one? How do I go back? Okay. So she didn't start in dialogue on here, but she then immediately started the next part on dialogue, which I don't know why is getting to me so much. Like, switch it up. I'll see you in a bit. I just want to rest a little. I'm sorry, Indy. Mom kisses my forehead as she lays down on her bed. She has not been getting much sleep lately, so instead of going to the meeting where we get to know people... So first it's like, she keeps changing the name of this event. Just pick one name of this event and stick with it. She just wanted to rest, and so I decided that I wouldn't go either, because I wasn't really in the mood, and plus it wasn't really my thing. That was the longest sentence on earth. I like to get to know people on my own time and not really suffocate myself with the thought of forcing conversation. I planned on ordering a pina colada and sitting on the balcony listening to the water and catching some rays, which sounded a lot better to me than forced conversation. You know, Indy, me too. I left Mom and went right next door to my room and put on a black bikini that would cause me to have weird tan lines since it was web netted in the front, showing a bit more boob than the average bathing suit, but I liked it and I was never afraid of showing too much skin. Slipping that on, putting on some more deep red lipstick, taking my long dark hair out of its bun. It came down in silky curls. I put on my sunglasses and then headed out. Did anybody get Ebony Darkness, Gerard Way, whatever the fuck her name is from Immortal? Did anybody get those vibes from this description here? Because that's all I can think of. Almost running into some girl who had no idea where she was going, I apologized and went down to the long hallway and turned left. So, I've not been paying the greatest attention to this so far, but she is switching between past and present tense. So Mom kisses my forehead is present tense. And now all of a sudden, I left Mom. That's past tense. So I hadn't even realized the tone shifting until just now. Sorry, not tone shifting. Oh my god. I know what I'm talking about, I swear. I did not notice the tense shifting until just now, and it's kind of bad. Pick one tense, stick with it. Is it past tense or is it present tense? Okay. So she almost ran into some girl and she apologized. Hello Darling was a beautiful ship. Everything looked elegant but modern. And that's all you're going to get about the description of the ship, so don't ask for any more. Finding my way outside, it felt amazing out. In what way? Is it hot? Is it windy? Sorry, I said don't ask for more description. I'm so sorry. Arriving at the bar, "I'll take a pina colada, please," I smiled for the sake of common courtesy. Less than a minute later, I was in tow. That's a fast bartender. Less than a minute, she got a pina colada. Isn't that a blended drink? She got out the blender and busted out this pina colada in less than a minute? Girl. I was in tow with a delicious alcoholic drink, laying out on a long chair and thoroughly enjoying the alone time. Girls were everywhere, chatter among everyone. Why are these girls always chattering? She said the word chatter like 10 times already. But somehow it wasn't too much for me to take away my relaxation. As bad as this sounds, I just needed a breather from Mom. Why'd you go on this cruise with her? Since the breakup, she has been glued to me, and I have not been able to breathe even once away from her. I cared about her dearly, and that's why I was on this cruise, but I also selfishly wanted to surround myself with beautiful ladies. I must have fallen asleep lightly from the heat of the sun. That's really dangerous. You should not fall asleep in the sun. That's how people get, sun poisoning. Because before I knew it, a beach ball hit me in the head. I jerked awake with that sudden fear of not knowing what in the world just happened. If she was asleep, how did she know a beach ball hit her in the head? She would just wake up having been hit in the head. She would not know it was a beach ball. Anyway. "Oh my gosh, are you okay? I'm so sorry." A short blonde girl comes up, grabbing the ball. "I was playing with my friends over there." She pointed to a group of friends who all resembled her preppy appearance. The word preppy just bugs me. Okay. "Oh no, don't worry about it." I sat up a bit, straightening my posture. I must have fallen asleep. "I'm just glad it was a beach ball and not something more hard." We both laughed. The girl's laugh was pretty high-pitched, and it made me wince a bit. I'm Lilac, by the way. So, hold on. Juniper's secondary love interest is Rose, and then Indy's secondary romance is Lilac. Okay. I'm Lilac, by the way. She twirled the beach ball and then threw it back to her friends, who started hooting and hollering at her. That's a hoot and berry. "Hi, I'm Indy. Your friends seem to be having a good time," I pointed out, standing up, realizing I was about 3 inches taller than she was. "Yeah, they think every girl I talk to is because I want to get in their pants." That's the word. Okay. "Why is everybody on the ship so horny?" Lilac's face got a bit red. "Don't mind them. Plus, you aren't even wearing pants." Astute observation, Lilac. That's good. I looked down at my bikini bottoms and felt myself blush a bit. "Oh, no worries. I have friends like that, too." She has no friends except her mom. I really didn't, but it just seemed appropriate to say, so she didn't feel too bad about her friends. Well, they're friends, so she probably doesn't feel bad about them. "Well, hey, there's a club here every night that starts at 9 p.m. Wait, the club starts at 9 p.m. or it opens at 9 p.m.? Word choice is important. "And goes on till anyone is still even standing." She giggled a bit. "You should come. I think it would be fun. We could drink and dance the night away." I loved the club scene. I loved dancing and drinking, so without hesitation, I agreed. "Yeah, sure, I will see you there." Lilac smiled and sauntered back to her friends. She was super cute, and her freckles were a huge turn-on. I watched her walk away and felt excited for the night. But then I thought of my mom. What a downer. I shouldn't have agreed to go to some club when my mom probably needed me. At 9 p.m. My mom needed me at 9 p.m. I was going to have to not show up at the club. And I knew I was going to feel horrible for standing up Lilac, but this trip is about my mom and not me. So Lilac is still within walking distance of Indy, and she can't just go up to her and say, "Oh, takesy backsies, I changed my mind, I'm not going to the club with you." Instead, she's just going to ghost her. That's an excellent plan. Juniper. After sitting here for almost an hour, I couldn't 100% focus on this get to know your fellow. I'm gonna go fucking crazy. She renamed this event like a 10th time. Now it's called the Get to Know Your Fellow Passengers game. This is ridiculous. Anyway, she can't focus on the game because Rose's leg gently touched mine ever so often, which made me feel warm and tingly. Then kissing her was seriously all I could think about, or wondering how soft her skin would feel underneath mine. Oh, that makes it sound like she wants to wear her skin. It was now the back row's turn to go in front of the crowd and follow the instructions of the game. When the game first started, the host passed around a big white container full of marbles, and we had to pick as many as marbles as we wanted without knowing the reason for picking. Why? That is so asinine. This makes no sense. You could pick anywhere from 1 to whatever number suited you. So is there an infinite amount of balls in this? Sorry, not balls, marbles in this container? How do they know that the first person isn't going to say, I want 100,000 marbles, and now they're all gone and nobody else can play the game? I chose 3, Rose chose 2, and Memphis chose 7. Memphis had come back from talking to that girl she thought was attractive. Turns out she was a lesbian, because of course she is, single, and her name was Tanner. Okay, for some reason the name Tanner makes me think of like a golden retriever, but that's fine. I'm meeting her at the club tonight. The club. Just the club. It doesn't have a name. There's only one club. There's one club on this ship for all 2,000 people. Memphis gleefully announced after choosing her 7 marbles and passing the container to me. Now, it has been about an hour since then. They've been sitting at this event for an hour and the game has not even really started. Whatever. It was our turn to go up and reveal ourselves. After the marbles were chosen, turns out each marble that we chose was how many facts we had to say about ourselves in front of everyone else. That's a fucking horrible game. I'm so sorry. Okay, and you 5 are, the host Nancy, asks us all 5 in the back row stand in front of the crowd. I never really cared for the attention to be on me, but I felt a bit flustered from Rose standing so close to me. We all answered, Memphis. I'm Juniper. Rose. Noel. Yes, like Christmas. Everyone laughed. I was not sure what was so funny, but I laughed too anyway. Yeah, it's not funny. And I'm Jordan. Noel and Jordan were obvious twins. Obvious twins. They both looked barely 18. Ooh, that's rough. Okay, let's not go there. Brown curly hair to their shoulders, and they both wore matching outfits, but in different colors. I hated when twins did that. They sat next to Rose last minute. They had not really talked to us at all, but both of them chose 2 marbles. Okay, now each of you, let's get to know you. Now remember the rules. Your facts cannot be your name, age, birthday, or anything super common. What does super common mean? This game is complicated. Tell us something we wouldn't know just by looking at you. Nancy smiled, a middle-aged woman who already had more gray hair than she needed to have, and wrinkles to show she had a sad life, but tried her hardest not to show it. Girl, Juniper is so judgmental. She had more gray hair than she needed to have? How much gray hair does anyone need to have? And how do wrinkles show that someone had a sad life? Everybody gets wrinkles. Like, what the fuck? Sorry. I'm sorry. She gestured for us to start, and then there was this awkward moment of us looking around at each other, seeing who should go first. Noelle kicked it into high gear. 2 marbles. So my first fact is that I lost my virginity. Okay, she's going 0 to 100. 2 marbles. So my first fact is that I lost my virginity when I was 13 to some dude with 1 arm who I, in fact, thought I was going to marry one day. Fact 2 is after this trip, I'm becoming a nun. Was she joking? God, I hope so. Jordan gently shook her head, and she made no reaction that made it look like her sister was joking, and then she began hers. 2 marbles as well. I work as a bartender in Hollywood, and I make about $400 a night in just tips alone. That's a weird flex, but okay, pop off. I live alone with my poodle named Delphine. Oh, okay. Even though these girls were twins and liked to dress the same, you could tell they were polar opposites from one another. I can't tell that from this interaction. You can tell they're polar opposites because I did not get that sense. I just got that they're both fucking weird. Memphis went next. She had 7 facts, and I seriously could not wait to hear what she had to say, even though I knew everything about her anyway. Girl, I don't give a single flying fuck about Memphis's 7 marble facts. I have 7 marbles, so bear with me. Okay, so this is my bestest friend in the entire world. She pulled me close and gave me a side hug and smiled. Let's see. She had all the time in the world to think of her facts, but she was making googly eyes with Tanner the whole time when we were waiting our turn. I used to play volleyball in high school. I've never been in love before. Why are these facts so weird? That's a lie. She was in a relationship before, and I swore she was in love. Because Juniper would know that. Juniper can read Memphis's mind and know she was in love. She was the kind of girl who never wanted to admit things like that. This is where we are similar. I'm allergic to nuts of all kinds. Bow chicka wow wow, she's a lesbian. Several girls let out a laugh because the way Memphis said that indicated a sexual innuendo. Girl, I know! I'm smart enough to understand that. I met Britney Spears when I was 14, and honestly, it was the most awkward experience of my life because I wanted a photo with her, but she acted like she wanted to be anywhere but there. Because free Britney! Hashtag free Britney! Sorry. Okay, how many is that now? She asked the crowd and laughed. 5, a few girls called out, because anybody was listening to what she was saying. Oh boy, one of the things on my bucket list is to go to Bora Bora. I'm sorry, I know I was not going to bring up Amberlynn, but that's actually Amberlynn's, She's frequently said that her number one place she wants to go is Bora Bora, which as a writer, you can write your own personal experiences into things. I just thought that was funny. And last but not least, I'm a pillow princess. That's something to be proud of. No, it's not. Why would you say that? That's so weird. I let out a huge laugh, and then Memphis winked at Tanner. A few girls let out a laugh as well. Okay, now we're going to get a description. A pillow princess is a lesbian who prefers to be on bottom, on the receiving end, and that was definitely Memphis. But I was the opposite, because of course she is. Wow, okay, Memphis, that was enlightening. Nancy seemed to be bothered, but didn't want to show it. Nancy is a homophobe on the gayest cruise ever. I decided to go next, because Rose didn't seem like going yet. I have 3, so let's cut to the point. Yes, please, God. 1, I am left-handed, although I do use my right hand for certain things. 2, I was born with a heart murmur. 3, I love the ladies. I grinned and made sure Rose saw. I was not sure if Rose liked girls or not, but I definitely wanted her to know. So where's her gaydar now? All of a sudden she can't tell? Also, Rose doesn't like girls. Rose smiled and began her 2 facts. I'm also a lady lover. Fucking liar. Oh, and I break hearts. Okay, maybe she's not a liar. She's only a partial liar. She grinned back, although it seemed like she was just joking, but I was not entirely sure. She was a girl like me. What is that supposed to mean? Someone who played hard to get, but also a girl who was a tease and willing to show it. Cool. That was a very weird way to end this scene in particular. I understand that Amberlynn is trying to set up a villain with Rose, but it goes nowhere. As I said, this is not a finished story, and this Rose plot line, I'm sorry to say, does not amount to anything. Indy. That was seriously so much fun, Indy, starting on dialogue again. Denise wants to hang out tomorrow around breakfast, so I'll probably do that if that's okay. Mom and I were walking back from the swimming pool. It was huge with a waterfall and slides, an indeterminate amount of slides. There was also a jacuzzi big enough to fit 100 people comfortably. That is not a thing on a cruise ship. A jacuzzi that would fit 100 people, not a chance. It was 24/7 open pool. Do they have lifeguards at all hours of the night? Do they have 24/7 lifeguards? Like, what? And when do they clean it? If it's 24/7 open pool, when do they clean it? Sorry. With free food and alcohol. It's not free. You paid for it in the ticket. Guys, I'm getting feisty. We had both drank a bit, played a little bit of swimming pool volleyball, and met some friends. Mom met a group of ladies her age, Denise being one of them. Oh, I forgot about this part. Oh my God, this is great. She was a jolly, overweight lady with rosy cheeks who my mom got attached to quickly once they found out they were both cheated on. Okay. See if you can clock this. She was jolly with rosy cheeks. Denise is fucking Santa Claus. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Denise is Mrs. Claus, and Santa Claus fucking cheated on her. I just love it. I love it. Of course, Mom, I'll figure something out. You go have fun. Denise was super awesome. Hello, Darling was filled with amazing activities and places to just sit and stare, relax while the wind sang around your face. What? So I had no problem finding things to do by myself. Well, honey, she stepped in front of her bedroom door. I'm going to get some rest. It has been a terribly long night, and I'm exhausted, but in all the best way. She did not proofread this, y'all. Sleep good. Sleep good. Sleep good. I'm sorry. I'm losing my fucking mind. Love you. She kissed my forehead and headed into her room. I felt a chill run down my spine from the cool air that escaped her room. She always preferred to be cold over hot. I walked into my bedroom and stripped free of my wet towel and my bikini. I looked in the bathroom mirror and admired my beauty. I'm not conceited in any way, and neither is Juniper, who had almost the same monologue. I just know that I'm attractive, and I'm really not afraid to admire that, shamelessly. My body was sculpted in the right ways, which I was grateful for, but we have no idea what her body actually looks like because that was the most vague description I've ever read. I know I got my mom's genes. Oh, we got a MILF alert! Ooh, MILF alert, MILF alert. I'm sorry. I walked to my bed, which has been made by room service, while I was out, and I looked at the time, remembering the invite Lilac gave me earlier that day. It was still early, and I was nowhere near tired, and Mom was in bed. Exactly, I knew she wouldn't need you at 9 p.m., idiot. I took a quick shower, blow-dried my long hair, and left it loose after applying some makeup and putting on an outfit that could possibly turn heads. Short black shirts and a white tank top that revealed my stomach. How is some shorts and a tank top going to turn some heads? My outfit choices were always pretty simple, plus it was a bit hot on the ship, and dancing at a club would only make it worse. Double checking myself in the mirror, I sighed at the anxiousness of what tonight could hold. Oh my god. Guys, we gotta power through this. Juniper. Clubbing was definitely something I did back home, quite frequently actually, so I was pretty excited for the invitation from Memphis and Tanner for me to join them. I knew I was going to be third wheeling, so I decided to take it upon myself to invite Rose. Rose was a sexy girl with hips I wanted to see dance, and possibly even dance on me. That makes it sound like Rose's disembodied hips are going to, like, twerk on her, which is a weird image, don't think about it. Hey, Rose, wait a minute, I hollered at her earlier right after the game of getting to know people, which has been renamed yet again. Pick a name for this event, girl. Which went better than to be expected because we both revealed we liked girls. I'm glad that's the takeaway. Rose slowed down and turned around. Yeah? I was wondering if you're not doing anything tonight, if you wanted to meet me at the club. It should be fun. We can oh my god. We can drink a bit and dance a bit. I was actually going to take a swim with the shark. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, guys. I forgot about this part. I'm going to cry. I'm going to scream. I was actually going to take a swim with the sharks. There were constant swim with the sharks going on throughout the day, and they even had a few runs through the night with glow-in-the-dark scuba gear. The sharks were well-behaved. Well as well-behaved as any sharks could be. Guys, I'm going to piss my pants. Okay, first of all, the ship is moving because it says it travels around the world, right? So are they just always traveling through shark-infested waters if there's constant swim with the sharks? And are sharks nocturnal? I don't know when a shark is active, but they're not going to be both. They're not going to be active both during the day and the night. It would be one or the other. And first of all, it sounds really dangerous to scuba dive in the dark, but they have glow-in-the-dark scuba gear. I'm screaming. I'm going to lose my mind. Okay, we got to move on. Oh, darn. Well, maybe I will see you around some other time. Have fun. I started to walk away very slowly in hopes that maybe she would invite me with her because I definitely was not going to invite myself. That's pathetic. She did not seem like she wanted anything to do with me anyhow. You're right, girl. Wait, actually, you know what? Rose called back. I'll go. I'll meet you around midnight. See you there. Okay, well, that was easy. She then walked away, lavender in tow, as her red hair shined in the breeze. If you forgot she smelled like lavender again, it comes up again. I'm promising. Wait, isn't it weird that rose smells like lavender, but lavender and lilac sound the same, so you would think lilac sounds... Okay, I gotta stop. Now it was hours and hours later after I spent time with Memphis, who kept talking about Tanner. Can you please stop talking about Tanner? You have not even kissed her yet. Why does that matter? Does that not mean I'm not totally into her? Memphis defended herself. Into her? You barely even talked to her. I had no room to talk. I'll be doing more than talking tonight, Memphis giggled as we walked into the club. She was wearing a short red tight... Hold on, sorry, that was a lot. She was wearing a short red tight strapless dress. Heads were going to turn. So heads are going to turn over what's-her-face's plain-ass tank top and shorts, and then Memphis is dressed totally differently. Like, what is this club's vibe? I don't understand. I walked in with skinny jeans and a fitted white t-shirt. I'm going to scream. Music was already pumping. Music was pumping. Some songs about kissing the tattoo on her shoulder was playing. I did not listen to much music, but it definitely sounded familiar. The lights were out and strobe lights were everywhere. So are the lights out or the strobe lights? That's a weird sentence. There were girls dancing everywhere, grinding on each other and throwing back shots. I looked around in hopes to find Rose somewhere, but it was hard because there were so many girls and not enough light. I walked over to the bar alone because Memphis was already on Tanner's side, making more googly eyes and becoming extremely touchy-feely. I laughed a bit to myself and ordered a drink. Rum and Coke, please. God, please, can I have a rum and Coke? I wanted to get tipsy. God, me too. And I wanted it to happen quickly. You know, Tanner reminded me... Oh my god, I'm going to scream. Tanner reminded me a lot of Justin Bieber. Just a lot more shape to her. She was cute and completely Memphis's type. But I want to know which era of Justin Bieber. Are we talking like the baby, that Justin Bieber? Or like the new weirdly the weird... scruffy, homeless-looking Justin Bieber, because that matters to me. Here you go, the dark-skinned bartender. I'm glad that the only black person described on this cruise is the bartender. There's some undertones there that we really don't want to get into right now. Here you go, the dark-skinned bartender handed me my drink without even asking for an ID. I smiled and nodded my head, turned around, and started walking around in hopes to run into Rose sometime soon. This girl is desperate. All she can think about is this girl. A new song came on. This one I knew, Latched by Disclosure. I don't know that song. This is weird. Edging around some corner that had a circled bed in it and a couple making out hot and heavy, I turned around a wall and actually accidentally pumped into someone. I'm sorry, that's disgusting. That sounds so bad. I don't know. This also speaks to the fact that Amberlynn has never been to a nightclub, because I don't know of any nightclub that just has a bed in it and a wall that you're able to like turn around and get into a separate part. Like, usually clubs are pretty open spaces. They're not these random walls and beds and shit. That's weird. Crap, I'm sorry. I looked down and saw that my drink had spilt on the floor. Oh no, don't worry about it. The stranger looked down at her clothes. She had a little bit of rum on her bare stomach and she gently wiped it off. It is pretty dark in here. I would not imagine you could see me. That's a weird way. People don't speak like this. I didn't. Thankfully, the alcohol is free. It is not free! I could barely see her face, but I smelt a familiar smell. Lavender. I told you it comes back. It was not rose, though. Why doesn't rose smell like roses? That would be great. Yes, thankfully. Everyone, hello, darling, would like to continue this party with a lot of alcohol and dancing the night away, because that's how DJs talk. The DJ, a girl, I'm gonna scream. The DJ, a girl in her late 30s who looked like Ellen DeGeneres. This DJ looks like Ellen DeGeneres. I'm sorry. She shouted over the music. All of a sudden, a big flash of light happened. How? And I could see the stranger before me for less than a second before the light went away. She was the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen in my life. Fuck Rose, forget Rose. Rose sucks. She is dead to us. Something pulled inside of me and made me lose my breath. Okay, I was wrong. They do meet. Hey, Indy, some blonde girl yelled, coming from some strange back room with smoke coming out of it. Are people actually allowed to smoke on this ship? No, that's not how smoking on ships works. She came up to the beautiful girl before me and wrapped her arm around her. Hey, Lilac. Barely see them, but I'm assuming Lilac was the smoker who definitely smelt of smoke. Astute observation, and Indy was the beautiful girl. Come on, let's go. Just then, Indy was pulled onto the dance floor with Lilac, and I was there, standing alone, no drink, and absolutely speechless, because that's exactly what you deserve. I thought I saw her wave back at me. I suddenly forgot of Rose. Well, you didn't forget Rose if you remembered that you forgot her. Oh, please be the last part. Oh, God, thank God this is the last part. Okay. Indy. Who is that? Lilac yelled over the music while handing me some type of alcoholic drink. Girl, it is really dangerous to take a drink that you did not see get made. Like, don't drink that. I really don't know. She just bumped into me and spilled her alcohol on the floor, I answered. After that, no conversations were really had. We laughed a bit, but mainly just drank, and spent the last hour dancing. There was a lot of grinding involved. A few times I thought she was going to kiss me, but she didn't. I was torn in between wanting her to kiss me and wanting her not to. She smelled of cigarettes, so I can only imagine that is what her mouth tasted like, and I was not into that. Girl, me neither. Even though I thought she was extremely attractive, a few times throughout the night she would escape for a bit and come back with more alcohol for us both. Girl, don't take a drink you didn't see the bartender make. You're going to get roofied. I was getting wasted, and when that happened, I pretty much did and said anything that my sober mind probably wouldn't have. That's what being drunk is. Like, I don't understand. Let's go back to my room, Lilac suggested while pulling me closer into her. But they haven't even kissed yet? She's trying to, go hook up, and they have not even kissed on this dance floor. I was not entirely ready to leave just yet, but she seemed really eager, and I did like the way her hands felt on my body. Sorry. Okay, sure, I replied, smiling back at her. She then kissed me on the lips just ever so gently, and I was wrong. Not a single trace of cigarette, just alcohol and mint? Is she chewing gum? Oh. Meet me in the front. I'll be right back, okay? She wanted to vanish again, like she did a lot throughout the night, and it seemed like each time she came back, she was a bit more excited about life and had a lot more energy. I did not think much of it, besides maybe she was just having a good time. Is she trying to set up that Lilac is, actually doing cocaine in that secret room? Because that's really what that implied to me, and that's fucking weird. Okay, hurry back. I then let myself kiss her gently on the lips. Through the small bit of light in the club, I could see her bite her lip and then slip off into the distance. I started walking to the front of the door when I had to pass this big circled bed in the corner. Okay. And then I smelt it. Lavender. I told you it would come back. It's only been mentioned 5 times. and it wasn't me. You wouldn't, what? And it wasn't me. So she doesn't smell like lavender? Rose, I said quietly, and then I felt like someone kicked me in the stomach and punched me in the heart. So she didn't even see Rose. She just smelled lavender and just knew nobody else owned that perfume or whatever. It just had to be Rose. I had to catch my breath. I was so drunk that I actually thought she was, what? Hold on, I'm so sorry. I was so drunk that I actually thought she was near me when there was no way she was. Well, it sounds like Amberlynn was drunk when she wrote that line. And thank the Lord Jesus, that is the end of Hello, Darling. In conclusion, I think that this is fairly clear that this is a first draft. There's been no editing, there's no revision, nothing, which really, if you're going to be posting a story online for people to see, potentially thousands, you need to edit it first. You can't just write something and throw it up. That is not how writing works. Editing is not optional. The awkward sentence structure made me frequently trip over my words. And if she had just read any of this out loud, she would have realized how ridiculous a lot of this sounds. And there's a lot of weird narrative choices. There's no logic behind what is happening. Why is Indy's mom on this cruise? Is it a lesbian party cruise? Is it just a general women's only cruise? The narrative is not consistent. There has been no research done whatsoever. You can tell based on her total misunderstanding about how cruise ships work and nightclubs. The characters are bland, and they're really hard to tell apart. Frequently, while I was reading it, Juniper and Indy, their POVs, I would get mixed up because they really don't sound any different from each other. And also their names are all very odd. Indy, Juniper, Memphis, Tanner, Lilac, Rose, blah, 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 blah. They're all very unique, interesting names, which somehow makes it even harder to keep them all apart. Like, there's nothing wrong with just naming a character Kate or Rachel. You can give them normal names. They don't all need to be exotic. There's no setting description whatsoever. You have no sense of where any of these scenes take place or what time or what anything about their surroundings is like. There's a big problem with show don't tell. We are told things very blatantly about characters and then given nothing to back it up. We're repeatedly told that Juniper is this sex god expert flirter, but then none of her flirting attempts ever were successful. So is she successful at flirting or is she a loser? The show don't tell is not matching up here. I don't even know if I want to get into this. I'm not the right person to talk about this, but this work is very problematic in so many ways. It's ableist with the thing about disabilities. It's both fat phobic and skinny phobic at the same time with the weird description of the eating. It's racist. The only black character we see is a bartender, and that feels very weird to me. Again, I'm not the person to talk about this. I'm a young middle-class white woman. This is not my lane, so I'm going to stay out of it. And finally, as this piece ended, the meet cute had no chemistry whatsoever between Indy and Juniper, so I'm just not buying that these two are going to have the epic romance that was laid out in the introduction. And that's sort of the disappointing part of this all, is that this was never finished, so I can't give a really good conclusion as to the story arc or the plot or the pacing because this goes nowhere. So if you're a writer who is starting out and you have a little less discipline, maybe wait to start posting until you're finished or you're really close to finished because you're going to end up with a situation like this. That's really all I had to say about Hello, Darling. I'm really terrified to tackle Scotty next because I have never read Scotty. I've read Hello, Darling before, and Scotty's like 90 parts, so that's going to be a multi-video series, but you know what? I'm ready for some more hilarity. So for now, this has been Senti Reads, and I will see you in the next one.